This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon. And I'm back in the studio. I've been in Sydney the last week and a little bit on a pretty hectic course. So a lot of my study's gone through being in the fitness industry the last 15 years to reading something like 70 books or something, but then also other mentors and coaches and all sorts of stuff. But for the last year and a bit, it's mostly through the coaching room, and they're worth looking up. So anyway, I was in Sydney with them for the last week. For 12-hour days, 8 of them, back to back, sometimes a bit longer. And so it feels good to be home, literally home, but also back in the studio, and delivering it to you guys. So today, when this gets released, today it's not, but when this gets released, it'll be Christmas Eve. And there's lots of Christmas things being shared and all whatnot. And so I thought I'd just jump on the bandwagon. But a little bit different this time. A little bit different, as you might know me, bit of a mismatcher. I saw something posted on a friend's Instagram, and it was a conversation between a son and a father around Christmas, around Santa Claus actually. And so I read it, and I quite liked the message of it. And so I wanted to share this story with you guys today. And I really hope you get something out of it in the sense of be able to make meaning of it for yourself and see the value in it and be able to do something with that. So I'm going to share that with you, and then I'm going to add my 2 cents at the end, as I usually do, and then we're going to rock and roll from there. So here is how the story goes. Son, that's the son about to speak. Dad, I think I'm old enough to know now. Is there a Santa Claus? Not being the world's fastest thinker, I stalled for time. Dad, okay, I agree that you're old enough, but before I tell you, I have a question for you. You see, the truth is a dangerous gift. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. Once you know the truth about Santa Claus, you will never again understand or relate to him as you do now. So my question is, are you sure you want to know? After a brief pause, the son replies, Yes, I want to know. Okay, I'll tell you. Yes, there is a Santa Claus, says the father. Really? Says the son. Yes, really. But he's not an old man with a beard and a red suit. That's just what we tell kids. You see, kids are too young to understand the true nature of Santa Claus, so we explain it to them in a way that they can understand. The truth about Santa Claus is that he's not a person at all. He's an idea. Think of all those presents Santa gave you over the years. I actually bought those myself. I watched you open them. And did it bother me that you didn't thank me? Of course not. In fact, it gave me great pleasure. You see, Santa Claus is the idea of giving for the sake of giving, without thought of thanks or acknowledgement. When I saw that woman collapse on the subway last week and called for help, I knew that she'd never know that it was me who summoned the ambulance. I was being Santa Claus in that moment when I did that. Ah, the son replies. So now that you know, you're part of it. You have to be Santa Claus too now. That means you can never tell a young kid the secret, and you have to help us select Santa presents for them. And most important, you have to look for opportunities to help people. Got it? And so I read this and I'm like, that's a really nice message, I suppose, is probably the way to put it. And a really nice anecdotal sort of conversation around this idea of giving and Christmas and whatnot. And people have their own idea of Christmas, whether it be family or gifts or trees or magic or whatever the case might be. And it's different for each person depending on their background and depending on what they associate with it. But one thing that is beautiful amongst that whole message, and one thing that really resonated, and is this idea of it's giving. And if there ever is an idea of giving, it's actually when parents give presents from Santa, because they're not waiting for a thank you. Because if we're waiting for something in return, that's not giving, it's a transaction, right? You wouldn't say that you went to the store and someone gave you something if you paid for it. You're like, no, I bought it. There was a transaction. Or we go, we'll barter. I'll give you this, you give me that. That's not giving, is it? Right? It's like, well, if I gave you something and then asked you to pay for it, or asked you to thank me for it, I'll give you this, but you got to thank me for it. It's like, that's a bit weird. Giving is the sake of giving with literally no expectation of return. You know what? I had a thing earlier this year, and I had a really close friend at the time, and and there was a couple of things happening for them at the time that was kind of important, and we hadn't connected for some time, and it really bothered me about getting them a gift. And then I sort of realized that I was expecting something in return with the gift, and then I actually gave myself permission to be able to give. And would I be okay if I never got anything in return or even saw the person again, but give because it was for me the right thing to do? And I'm like, yeah. And just this pressure left, and I was just able to actually give this person something. And it was fascinating in that space that a lot of the time we get caught up in this idea of giving. Like here, my sister, she won't listen to this. And if you do, fuck you, Amanda. No, I'm kidding. I love my sisters. But I said today, I'm like, oh, what alcohol does her husband drink? And she's like, don't get us anything. And I'm like, it's not about you. It's like, it's me giving is about me feeling good about giving to you. I don't care. It's not about you. I don't want anything in return. I'm allowed to give to you, right? But here's this pressure of like, well, if you give to me, then I'm going to feel bad about not giving to you. It's like, it's not a transaction. It's like, well, why didn't you give it to me earlier in the year? It's like, well, I don't see you. So it's interesting in seeing this understanding of what really giving is. And so my question, my extension, my offer even to you this Christmas, which, maybe this is Christmas Day we listen to, or maybe it's after Christmas Day. And if it's after Christmas Day, that's fine, because there's 364 other days you can do it. Is, are you giving, really, truly, deeply giving, or are you simply transactioning? And that's something that I offer you to have a bit of a think about. Because there's some truth in there. There's some difficulties in there. And some of you listen to this will sit back and be like, fuck, I'm actually not. Because some people don't do it with love. Some people have conditional love with the people that they're associated with. I'll love you as long as you do X and this and that and that. And that's not love. Hey, that's conditions. It's the same as like presents and love and all sorts of stuff. It's a gift. That's why it's called a present. Because love is in the present. You don't love the future, right? It's the same. It's like, I love my future. It's like, great. Well, you love your idea of the future. The future is not even occurring. It's not there. You can't grab it. You can't point to it. You can in your like conceptual thinking space, the movie in mind, but it's not actually here right now. And same with the past. You love your idea of the past because you're like, that was the past. That's my memories. It's like, yeah, that was your experience that you're now experiencing later on of the past. It's not the past. It's really quite fascinating. And so love is really only here because even if I'm thinking of the future, I'm feeling of love right now in the present. Hey, isn't that interesting? Same. So being present and loving, and if the people around you, if you need them, like, and more importantly, if you're encouraging or forcing them to do the things such as love and gifting you, and being present, then you got to have a bit of a look and go, you're able to move on if you want to, without forcing them to do something. But my main point here, as in forcing them to give or to love or to be present, is just really look at all the things that you give. Give your time, give your love, give your presence, give your gifts, both material and you. It's like, is there conditions? Do you need transactions in order for you to do that? And then just look at it and see where you can just give it. Because fuck, when you give it, holy shit, it does come back. Because otherwise you're working from this scarcity mindset. There's this, I remember this conversation, I'll probably finish it up with this and a little bit more love, no doubt. But I remember hearing this conversation about Gary Vaynerchuk, and one of the ladies that was interviewing him said, oh, but people grab your things that you talk about, create an ebook or a package or a program, and then they sell it. And then they make money off it. Like, how does that make you feel? He's like, fuck, I don't focus on one person. The universe pays me well. And that's it. Hey, like, if you give, the universe will pay you well. And people are like, don't trust that. It's like, because you're working from this scarcity place. And there's a lot to unpack in the word of scarcity. But that's the truth of it. And have fun with that. So this Christmas, just give. Give your grandparents just that time, just that presence with them. Ask them questions, right? Give the gift of love, like legitimate fucking like heartbeat there in the moment. It's amazing. And just watch it come back. And people are just waiting. It's the same. People are waiting for other people to be vulnerable. It's like, you want vulnerability and all that kind of shit? Then you do it first and watch the fucking world around you. Hey, like, that's leadership. That's love. That's strength. That's giving. Because in that moment, when you gave yourself permission, you give everyone else permission. It's phenomenal. Team, I love you so much. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't already, jump on Mood Prep Online. And also, if you found this podcast beneficial, then it'll mean the world to me if you'd pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. Otherwise, until tomorrow, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
to be everything at once, beyond blinded,